Mateo
That's
Montoya.
Good.
Okay.
That's good enough. We'll just keep it in Mateo.
You're a deputy?
Yes, deputy sheriff.
Deputy sheriff. I don't know what that means, so you can explain that too.
I will.
But he is here today. He is actually, my mom works for Arapahoe County Courts, and so I met with Mateo over a school project. And then just hearing about his story, I think it's a story definitely worth sharing with you all. And I hope that you get something out of it. And I think Mateo is someone who has a different faith story than what you have heard these past 6 weeks. And so I hope that it is engaging for you again. And then at the end, we'll go downstairs and finish our projects.
You guys ready? All right. All right, so how many of you guys here ate your breakfast? Raise your hand. Okay. So almost everybody. Okay. How many of you guys ate all of your breakfast? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you guys brushed your teeth? Don't raise your hand because then we'll find out. Okay. All right. You did? Yeah. Good. Good, good. So we know somebody brushed their teeth in here, and that's a good thing, right? All right, guys, so today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about faith. Now, when I'm asking you guys these simple questions, the reason why I'm asking you them is because I want a little bit of participation. I also want you guys to understand that, number one, okay, I'm here for you to help you guys understand that as young as you are, you will later have an impact greater and bigger than what even you could conceive right now. Now, for those of you guys, how many of you guys prepared your own breakfast this morning? Actually woke up and made your own breakfast? Raise your hand. Where did you go to get your breakfast? What's that? Did you go to the kitchen? Now, why did you go to the kitchen? That's where the food is. That's what you say, huh? Okay. How many of you guys here have food in your kitchen? Raise your hand. Okay, everybody has food in their kitchen for the most part? Okay. How come you didn't go to the living room? There's no food in the living room? Well, if you go to my house, there's food in the living room, and that's what happens when you have kids, okay? There's food all over the place. Okay. So, we're talking about faith, and we're talking about understanding and knowing where things are at and why they are where they're at. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up a few scriptures. We're going to read the King James Version Bible, but the reason why I'm going to pull these up is to kind of get you guys in the mindset of understanding what faith is and how it develops and how it helps you and me and everybody we come in contact with. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read Romans. It's going to be chapter 12, verse 3. And it says this: "For I say through the grace given unto me, to every man, woman, child, among you," okay, that is among you, "not to think of himself more lightly or highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith." Every single one of you has a measure of faith. It could be this small, but every single one of you has a little bit of faith. And that faith is knowing that when you wake up in the morning, you know where the food is. When you go to bed at night, you know where your bedroom is. Okay? When you go to your sock drawer, you know you're going to find at least one pair of socks. Okay? Maybe not. Okay? The whole idea is that we all have a little bit of faith. The idea is now, how do we recognize that faith as being something that we could benefit from and help others with? Do we have any ideas? How does your faith individually help somebody else out? What do we got? There's no wrong answer. Yes?
You can tell other people about your faith.
You can tell other people? Okay. So, you can tell other people about your faith. I believe that this could happen. I know that this could happen. I know that this is going to happen. How do you know? Because you have faith. Is that correct? Does that make sense? Okay. So we're going to go to number 2 on the list of faith. So, we're going to go to Romans 10:17. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read Romans 10:17. "So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God." Okay, how many of you guys are hearing what I'm saying? How many of you are picking up what I'm putting down? You guys getting it? Okay. You have to hear. Okay. For those that can't hear, they still believe, and they believe through their way of hearing. It might be sight, might be this, it might be that. But there's a passing on of faith. If you have just a small bit of faith and you share that with somebody else, it can grow and it could help somebody. So what I want you guys to make sure that you understand is it's not so much that you don't have something, it's the possibility that you can have something greater by making sure that you share your faith. Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to go to number 3 real quick. Okay. Now the number 3 scripture that I'm going to read to you is going to be Luke 17:5. Now we're talking about people, and we're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to talk about how you're sharing faith. And now we're going to talk about if somebody does you wrong. Okay, because this sometimes happens, guys. Now, and if he trespass against thee 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day turn to thee, saying, I repent, thou shalt forgive him. That's 4. And the apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith. They didn't quite understand how, when the Lord was talking, he said that if somebody does something to you wrong 7 times in one day, that you're just supposed to say, oh, you're forgiven. Because that's kind of a hard thing to do sometimes, right? And so they asked, increase our faith, my faith individually. And the Lord said, if ye had faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye might say unto the sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and thou planted in the sea, and it should obey you. Now, that's a bunch of good verbiage for individuals that understand planting and moving. Okay? How many of you guys have ever planted a tree? Okay. A good group. How many of you guys have ever watered the lawn? Okay. How many of you have watered your brother or sister when they weren't paying attention? Okay, everybody, right? Okay. So the concept is this, is that if you believe it and you understand that you can do it, it can be done. How big does that faith have to be, guys? Okay, what's the example that the Bible gave? Mustard seed faith, okay? So, if somebody says something to you that's incorrect, because I'm going to tell you, in my line of work, a lot of times you run across guys and gals that are having a tough go at it, okay? And their life and their situation, okay, they might be running through difficult times. And they might say things that are mean and hurtful to you, okay? If you have the faith to understand that what you then give back to them will reciprocate and come back to you, then you understand what faith is. Does that make sense? Everything that you do towards somebody will come back. How do we know that? Because faith says so. Okay? So we're going to go to number 4. Number 4 scripture that I'm going to read for you guys is Matthew chapter 6, verse 30. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which this day is, and tomorrow, let me read this right. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Now, in that scripture, what he's talking about is real simple. How many of you guys woke up this morning and knew there was cereal in the cupboard, there was food in the kitchen? How many of you guys knew that? We've already established that. How many of you guys woke up today and you knew that there was going to be grass outside on your lawn or here at the church? How many of you guys knew that? Were you worried about it? Why were you not worried about it? No, that's not why. Because why? Because you have faith. Does that make sense? Okay? Your belief that it was going to be there over time has developed to the point where if it's not there, you know what to do. Does that make sense? Okay? If there's no food in the kitchen, where do you go? What's that? To the store, right? Why do we go to the store? Because what? How do you know that? Did you actually, okay, so you have faith. Now, does this make sense how simple and small faith is, but how it could grow? You guys getting it? Okay. So we're going to go to 5 for me. Okay? In 5, we're going to go Matthew chapter 8, 5 through 10. Now, this particular scripture is real good because it talks about a guy who's in charge of a lot of things. He's a powerful man, and he has all this control. But there's a guy that works for him. It's his servant. Okay? And the guy's sick, and he's not feeling well. And he walks up to the Lord, and he says, you know, I've got a problem. I'm in charge of all these things, but I can't fix this guy's issue. He's sick. I'm going to read it to you. You ready? Matthew chapter 8, verse 5. And when Jesus entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him. How many of you guys know what a centurion is? Just say a guy with a lot of power. Okay? And this individual came and he said, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. So the guy is in pain, he's hurting. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. So Jesus says, hey, you asked, I'm there. Now, why did the centurion go to Jesus? How many of you guys know the answer? Why did he go to Jesus? Why?
Because he had faith.
He had faith? Why did he have faith? Because Jesus had done other things, he had faith. Well, how did the centurion know that? Because we all have a little bit of faith. And you hear some good things about something and you put a little bit of faith in them and you believe that there's a possibility that that individual or that thing might help you. And it just so happened that Jesus was the man that they were talking about that could do wondrous things. That's why the centurion went to him. Does that make sense? And when Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him, the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Now, the centurion actually said, God, Jesus, I gotta be real with you. My house isn't all that in a bag of chips. And you coming all the way to my place probably isn't necessary because I'm not even worthy to have you around me. Okay, he was honoring God. There was a lot of humility there. Does that make sense? A lot of humility. And that's what happens when you have faith. It's coupled with humility. And you say, you know what? I may or may not have everything figured out. How many of you guys know everything? Raise your hand. Good. Nobody does here. So we're in good company. How many of you guys have known or have done some things that maybe I have not? Raise your hand. There's that possibility, right? Okay. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is I want you guys to understand is that your faith and your strength and your ability, okay, if you bring that to the table humbly, people could not only respect it, but they could grow from it. Now, when Jesus was asked to come, he said he would come. However, what did the centurion say? He said, you know what? You don't have to come to my place. In fact, you're so powerful, Jesus, I bet if you said it, it would happen. Now, why would he say that to the centurion? And why would that centurion say, if you say it, it'll happen? What's that called? Faith. Right? Do you guys get it? He believed that God was so powerful that if God just said, bam, it's going to happen. So the centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Now, where I work, we have a lot of legal speak and a lot of very, very strong terms. When you say and use the word shall, what does that mean? You guys know what that means? Yes, sir. It will happen. Is that correct? Is that a fair assessment of the word shall? Okay. When you wake up in the morning, if you're hungry enough, you shall eat your breakfast. It's not a commandment, but it most likely will happen. Does that make sense? If you're hungry enough, you're going to eat it. Okay. So this centurion says, Lord, you just speak it and it shall. So the centurion later says, "For I am a man under authority." So he recognized that he was under authority. He's a powerful man. But he's under it also. And he understands one thing, that if God is for you, who can be against you? And we'll get on that a little bit later. But he understood that God and Jesus, the simple concept, was so powerful that he could push past things. He says to him, "I'm a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth. And to another, Come, and he cometh. And to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it." And when Jesus heard it, he marveled and said unto them that followed, "Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel." And later it goes on to say that because of that faith, that servant was healed. Now, why was he healed, guys? Okay, because of faith. What had to happen though? Somebody had to ask a question. Somebody had to put themselves into a situation. Now, do you understand where we're going with this? Okay, there's a scripture we're going to get to, and it's going to talk about faith without works. Faith without works is what? How many of you guys know that scripture? Okay. We'll get there. You ready? Now, we talked about the size of faith that you need to have. The next thing that we're going to talk to is this. Okay. Faith moving mountains. Can faith move mountains, guys? Yes or no? Yeah or no? There's no wrong answer. You don't know? Okay. You don't think so? You ready? Okay. Why are we in a building right now? Got a quick question. Why? Because somebody got tired of not having comforts. And so what they did is they said, you know what? I'm going to get some mud. I'm going to get some straw. I'm going to make a brick. I'm going to put this brick right here. I'll make another brick and another brick. And pretty soon they made a building. Okay. And later they would call that a temple, and then they call it churches, and they call it this, and they call it that. But somebody had faith. Okay. Now, how many of you guys have been out of state? Where did you go? You went to China? Where? Now, how did you go to China? Okay, but how did you go to China? How? I don't believe you. I have very little faith that you actually got into an airplane and you flew. How many of you guys believe that she flew? Why? You have faith? Who else here has flown in a plane? So is it possible that because of the fact that you have been around that type of scenario, that you actually have faith that she possibly did? Is that fair? Okay. Have you ever gone out of town?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I guess New York.
You guessed New York? What if I guessed China? So you guessed New York, so we're going to probably say that it's probably New York. Do you have family in New York?
Yeah.
That's a good guess then, right? And I'm good. I'm really good. Okay. So, how did you get to New York?
I took a plane.
Wait a minute, what's up with you guys all flying planes? A bunch of pilots in here? Okay. So you took a plane? Okay. Young man, where did you go?
Texas.
Texas?
Yep.
Did you take a plane?
Yeah.
I'm done. So, it's safe to say that if you say that you took a plane, that there's the possibility that you took a plane. Is that correct? And we all can believe that because we have a little bit of faith. Because for the most part, some of us have traveled, not all of us. How many of you guys ran here from your home? Actually ran? None of you? How many of you guys run home after school? Really fast, right? Really fast. Okay. So, here's what I'm going to ask you. How many of you guys know where your feet are? Don't look at them. How many of you guys know where your feet are? Where are they at? Where are they at?
Your legs.
On your legs? They're not on my legs, they're on your legs, right? Okay. So your feet are on your legs. Now you guys have faith. So when you wake up in the morning, you roll out of bed and you put your feet down on the ground, you expect the ground to be there, right? Okay. When you make a plan to go to New York or to go to China or to go to Texas, you expect that you're going to get there, right? Why do you expect that?
Because we have faith.
Because you have faith. Now, do you see how that you sharing your little faith story right here kind of helps liven the group up? Do you understand why it's important to share your faith story now? Does it kind of make sense? We're going to move on. Now, how does your faith grow? How does your faith grow, guys? By going to church. How else? By talking. How else? By what? By listening. Yes, sir.
Also experiencing.
Experiencing. Okay. When you guys go through any struggles or any issues that you're going to go through life, you know that's not a bad thing. Okay. How many of you guys live in my story? With my story, I'm going to tell you some stuff that I want you to understand you can get through. Okay? For those of you that don't have both parents in your household, I want you to know you're going to be able to get through it. Okay? For those of you that have gotten in trouble at school, I want you to know that you can get through it. For those of you that haven't gotten in any trouble at any time in your entire life, you're going to also get through that because you will eventually make a decision. And that decision may or may not be the best decision at that time, but you will get through it. Okay? There was a time many years ago where I was not the young man that I am today. Okay? And I had a decision to make. And that decision was a very, very difficult decision because the decision was based on faith. Okay? I grew up in a really, really tough neighborhood, and in that neighborhood we had gangs, we had drugs. Now, how many of you guys know a gang member? Okay? You know the gang members aren't different than you or I? You know that sometimes they just lack a little bit of faith that maybe you could encourage them to have? So, the reason why I'm telling you that is this. Okay? I grew up in this neighborhood, there was drugs, there was violence, there was all the negative things that you could think of that maybe you shouldn't think of because the Word of God says to think on these things which are good. So think on those things. But there's reality, and sometimes reality is you can't plan everything. Okay? So when I was growing up, some of my friends, they happened to get involved with these things. And I had never played a sport in my entire life. Very, very good athlete. But I just never played any sports. Never really did anything. And I had a friend of mine, he said, "Hey, Mateo, why don't you come play baseball with us?" And I said, how many of you guys know what baseball is? Okay, you guys all know what baseball is? Okay. How many of you guys here like the game of baseball? Okay, if you don't, no big deal. Okay, how many of you guys like cooking? How many of you guys like food? Okay, for those of you who don't raise your hands, you will not eat for the next 5 days. Okay. So, there's certain things that you like, right? Well, I had never played baseball, and I said, you know what? Well, what is it? What do we do? And they said, well, you do what you're doing. You hit the ball, you throw the ball, you catch the ball. It's pretty simple. It's a simple game. And I said, okay. So I went with my buddies, and I started playing. I got really good at the game. I got so good that I got to go to college later. But I had to continually make decisions. I had to keep working. But the first day was the most scary day in my life because I knew nothing about the game. Now, there's going to be things that you're going to come into your life and you're not going to know anything about it. And you're going to have the faith to understand that you're going to grow and you will learn. And maybe one day you'll be able to teach and help somebody else get good at the game. So the game's real simple because it's based on what? What is it? Faith. Everything that we do in life, whether it's baking a cake, whether it's fixing a car, whether it's putting on your clothes, doing your homework, studying, it's based on the concept that if I do this, I'm going to get this. Does that make sense now? Now later on, I ended up going to college, playing sports, getting a good education, getting opportunity. And then I got injured. My shoulder got all messed up. And I couldn't throw the baseball as hard or as far as I Now, this is my story. This is not your story. And with this story, I want you guys to understand where I'm at with my faith. Now, I know how to hit a ball real far. Okay? I know how to, at one point in my life, throw the ball really far. And I knew how to play the game of baseball. But now I can't play the game of baseball. So what happened to my faith? Did it go away? No. Where did it go? It's hanging in the balance, getting ready to grow again. So I saw what they called the Olympics on TV. It was a great opportunity, great thing. Didn't know anything about it. And I started to train. And when I started to train, I started to kind of see that I could still run a little bit. Because I was fast. And I said, well, you know what? I don't know anything really about track and field, but I'll start training for track and field and just see how good I can. So do you see where my faith is going? When something bad happens to you guys, it doesn't always mean it's the end. What it means is a new beginning. Okay? How many of you guys have ever failed? Raise your hand. Okay? For those of you that are comfortable with sharing what you failed, raise your hand. I'm going to ask you just real quick. What did you fail at?
I built a robot.
You built a robot and the motors didn't work. So we call that a bad robot? Failed robot? Okay. So, what happened after that?
I just kept on trying.
Okay. So, he kept trying, kept working at it. Eventually the motor worked. Now why did it work again?
Because I felt that it will work if I keep on trying.
So I got a question for you guys. You ever failed at anything?
Yes.
What did you fail at?
I did DI one year.
Uh-huh.
We went to globals, but then we didn't make the top 10.
You didn't make the top 10? So is that a failure?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. So I got a question for you. Did you keep studying?
Yes.
Did you keep working?
Yes.
Are you better now than you were then?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because we did it again this year, and we haven't gone to globals yet, but we're going. So.
What? So she kept working, and now she's working to go to globals. So does this make sense? You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be tough. Things are going to be difficult. Okay? But if you keep working, what ends up happening? You then can what? Utilize your faith and understand even if you make a mistake or maybe you don't quite reach the goal that you want, you continue to progress. Now we're going to get back to me. Okay? So, I started training for track and field, and I had a guy, he walks up to me and says, you're an old guy. Okay? I just look really young. He says, you're an old guy, bud. He says, I don't know if you should keep running track and field. And I said, well, I don't know, but I'm getting pretty good at it. I keep working, I keep working, I keep working. It's going to happen, right? But what ended up happening is I ended up going overseas on a plane, surprisingly. Okay? And when I went overseas, I went to a different country and I got a world championship medal. Do you know why I had that medal? What's that? You don't know why? Okay. Now, when you go to a different country, and I'm going to tell you guys this, when you get to a certain level of any type of competition, when you go to a different country and you're facing world championship or world quality type athletes, it's scary. You know why? Because they want what you want too. Does that make sense? You're going to these different countries, guys from Russia, guys from China, okay, guys from Hong Kong, guys from South Africa, guys from Guatemala. And they also have faith. Okay? We're going to curtail this real quick because I want you guys to see this. Okay? Faith without works is what? Do you guys know? You guys ready to learn? Here we go. Faith, faith, faith. Okay? We're going to go to James chapter 2, 14 through 26. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to skim through this. And then I'm going to ask you guys to actually interact with me. Okay? The reason why I was telling you a lot of the things about me and how I went from this spot to this spot is so you could understand that just not where you start, it's where your overall goals are. How many of you guys know where you're at right now? Raise your hand. Where are you at? What's that?
Well, like in school,
Where you at in school?
like grade,
Like grade? Where you at in school?
6th grade.
You're in 6th grade. Now, how do you know that? You were there for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So I got a question for you. You gonna make it to your senior year? Why? How do you know that? You haven't even been there.
I don't know.
You don't know? You do know. Okay. What grade are you in? 7th grade? You gonna make it to your senior year? How do you know?
Because I have faith.
How do you know?
Is that faith?
Do you?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. Does that make sense? Why do you study so hard in your homework?
Because I want to get into college.
College? You're not even done with high school. You already think about college? Oh my gosh. Okay. So how come you're thinking about college? You do know.
Because I have faith that I'm going to.
There you go. Now you guys picking up? Okay. What grade are you in?
So,
7th grade? Okay. Where are you going to be 10 years from now? Ooh, I give you a number and you're thinking, she's doing the math right now. Okay.
maybe college.
You might be in college? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Are you probably going to be good at what you do though? Why?
Because I have faith.
You have faith. Okay. What about you?
So,
7th grade? Okay. What are you going to be doing 10 years from now?
probably like, in college.
College, you think? Okay. All right. What are you going to do with your life after college? What do you want to be?
Police officer.
A police officer? Oh my gosh, you can take it. It's a tough job, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so you want to be a police officer? Okay. Now, why would you want to be a police officer? Because I look cool. Go ahead and say it. I look cool. That's why. Because you have faith, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you guys this. Okay? I decided to be a peace officer because I saw the need to be a good person in a profession. Okay, I had faith that if I applied myself and I worked hard, which I have, okay, that I can make a difference positively for people and help them. Okay? Just like me running track and getting a world championship medal, I've actually got 2 now because I had faith. Okay? And getting a national championship medal and being a national champion and being a world championship silver medalist and being a high school baseball player, college baseball player, high school football player, college football player, or working backwards. Okay? What I want you guys to see is every day that I showed up, I had faith, just like you do. Are you going to have tough days? You sure are. Can you get through those tough days? Why?
Because you have faith that you do.
That's right. Okay? No matter how dark or how scary or how evil some things may seem, if you stick to the course and you understand where you're at, and you have an idea that is very strongly rooted in where you're going, you will get there. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, we're going to run through the scripture real quick. James 2, 14 through 26. What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he hath faith, and have not works? Can faith save him? So in simple English, what the individual is asking is this. What does it profit a guy to say, well, I have faith this is going to happen, but the individual does not put the work in to get it done? Does it help? It doesn't help, does it? What do you have to do with your faith? You have to work for it. Now, why do you have to work for it? can't. Oh. You mean that's not the Harry Potter closet right there? You just open and close doors? Okay. All right, so you have to do something, is that correct? You have to do something. You have to apply yourself. You have to put yourself in a position. Okay? What I want you guys to make sure you understand is if you want something, you have to go after it. What do you want when you grow up? You don't know? Okay. Do you want to grow up? Why? You'll be good at it, problem. Okay, right? Okay. Where you guys are sitting right now, I once was, and I want you to understand that. Okay? I am not better than any one of you. Do you understand that? Mateo was a little boy, okay? Before that, he was a baby. Didn't even get his diaper change. Okay? And before that, somebody thought that there was a possibility that this kid was going to be something. And so they instilled in me a little bit of faith. And that's what I'm going to do for you, hopefully. Is giving you that little pat on the back that says if you guys work towards your goal, you're going to get there. But you got to put the work in. Because faith without works is what? What happens to it? It fails. It what? It dies. It fails. It stops. It doesn't grow. Does this make sense? Okay. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be warned and filled. Notwithstanding, ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? So translating that to simple terms, one of you guys walks up to me and you're hungry. You go to your kitchen, you say there's no food. Okay? And you don't have any clothes to keep you warm. How many guys live here in Colorado? Does it get cold here? It gets warm the next day though, doesn't it? Okay. So, you come up to me and you say, hey, Mateo, you know what, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I don't have any clothes. And I say, you know what, go on out that door, you'll be fine. What have I done? Have I helped faith grow? No, I haven't. Why?
Because you haven't really working.
If I have the means to help somebody, this is what I'm trying to get you guys to see, is that you have the means. You have the ability to help somebody. When you see a friend that's down at school, when you see, in my case, a coworker that's struggling, and you walk up to them and you say, hey man, you're going to get through this, and you actually are there for them, guess what ends up happening? You provide them the faith that they need, because now there's proof. Does that make sense? Okay. Tell me you're cold. Just tell me. You're cold. Okay, well I'm going to give you my jacket. If I hand him my jacket, what happens? What have I done? Why did he come to me? Why did he tell me he was hurting? Why did he say something negative to me? Why? So that I can do what? Blanket him with the faith that was given to me and provide him with what I have to give. Does that make sense? You guys understand that? When somebody comes up to you and they ask you for something, or they say something to you, listen. Because what does faith do? Okay? It provides. Okay? Faith does provide. What does faith provide? Hope. Okay? Getting back to our conversation this morning. How many of you guys woke up this morning and ate breakfast? Okay? When you go home this afternoon, are you going to eat a lunch? Why? Because it's Mother's Day, right? Even so, faith, if it hath not work, is dead, being alone. If you do not work with the amount of faith that you have been provided, and you've been presented with an opportunity, if you don't do something with that, do you know what you are doing? You are stopping faith dead in its tracks. And so what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to make a promise to yourself, not so much to me, but to yourself, to actually grow your faith. We're going to skip down to 19. Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that without works, faith is dead. We're going to talk about Abraham, as he is known now, Isaac, Jacob, King David, anybody that you guys could think of any of your wonderful Bible stories. Do you know that those individuals had faith? How big was their faith, guys? How big? How big is your faith?
Because you can trust in something.
Okay. You can trust. Okay. So you have a little bit of faith. Can you trust? Who can you trust?
People that are close to me.
People that are close to you, that care for you, love you. Who can you trust? Your friends and family? What can you trust them for? They got your back? Because you got your front. And God's got all of you, right? Does this make sense? Okay, so we can trust you to do what we got to do. Who can you trust?
My family.
Your family? Okay, what do you trust your family for?
Everything.
Everything? Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Who can you trust?
Family and friends.
Family and friends?
Everyone.
Everyone? You trust everyone?
I'm sure it's safe.
Okay, you can't trust everyone. You can trust everyone to do something. Okay? So here's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. I'm going to ask you this. You ready, Lily? Okay. Can I trust you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I have faith.
You have faith. Can I trust you? 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 You guys understand where I'm going? If we put our faith to the test every single day, we know that we can trust each other. And if we make sure to continue to share our faith, what happens to us? All of us. We get stronger. Do you guys understand that? Okay? Like I said, one of these days, you're going to be standing here. Okay? You're going to be talking to a group of kids, and you're going to be talking about how they could grow, and how they could get better, and how they could help each other. And the reason why you're going to be able to do that is because you're going to understand that alone, okay, faith is not good. You have to put the works in it. And so you're going to go speak from your experience and what you've done. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. What's your favorite food? Watermelon? Okay. How many guys here like watermelon? Okay. Have you ever ordered a drink or poured a drink for somebody and it was not what they thought it was in the cup? Has it ever happened to you guys? Yes? Okay. If you went to get a bite of juicy, wonderful watermelon and it tasted like asparagus and pizza, how would that make you feel at that moment?
I would feel sad.
You would feel sad. Okay. So there's that little bit of trust. Okay? So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is don't be the asparagus and pizza disguised as watermelon. Encourage each other. Be who you are. Be good. Be positive. Okay? Be pure at heart. And think on those things which can benefit and help each other. Okay? Now, that's my presentation for today. And what I'm hoping is that it helps you guys understand one thing. What is that one thing? What's that? Faith. Okay? Young lady, you have faith? Young man, you have faith? Okay. How much faith do you have? A lot. Don't ever forget that. That's all I have. Thank you, guys.
You have any questions for him? No question?
Okay, questions. I'll start from the right and I'll work my way this way, okay? And then we'll start here and then go back. What do you got?
Okay, so you said you were in the World Championships. Did you mean like the Olympics?
No. Okay, so I'm going to explain this. Right now, what I am doing is I am training for what they call bobsled. You guys know what bobsled is? Okay. So in my line of work, what we have is we have the World Police and Fire Games. Okay? In 2012, I was actually able to go to the national championship for masters track and field athletes and get a bronze medal. The next year, 2013, I went to the national championship and ran a 400 meter and got a bronze medal. And that same year, I went out to Ireland. How many of you guys have been to Ireland? Okay. It's pretty fun. It's where the Titanic was made. Okay. And I got to run on a 4x100 meter world championship quality team. We just ended up losing to a couple guys from Hong Kong. So that was kind of strange. Okay, because they whomped on us really, really good. What I did is, in 2014, I had a tryout with the U.S. Olympic bobsled and skeleton team, and ended up getting injured. That whole faith thing kind of came into play. Stuck with it last year. I did well enough, and I got to do some bobsled, so right now that's what I'm working on. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what I'm working on. I'm not on a team right now, but I'm training for that. Okay, does that answer your question? Okay. Who else had a question? What's up? That was your question? Okay. How many of you guys here like sports at all? Okay. What's your favorite sport?
Well, some people don't think it is sport, but dancing.
Dancing? Okay. Okay. With dancing, do you have to train? You do, don't you? How many hours do you have to train?
At least 2 hours every day.
Okay, at least 2 hours every day. I'm going to break something down for you guys real quick and give you guys a little bit of education. You guys okay with that? Okay, because we're going to talk about training. Okay, how many hours do we have in a day? Anybody raise your hand? What do you got?
24.
What? You got 24? How many hours over here? What do you got? You got 12 hours in a day? Okay, he's a smart guy right here. How many hours do we have in a full day? 24. Okay, very, very intelligent individual. Okay, all right. So you guys all have 24 hours, right? Make sure you understand, okay, this one thing is that within that 24-hour period, you only have a certain amount of time to do and get done what you need to get done. And that's what we're talking about, the training aspect. Okay? So you said for dancing, you got to work at least 2 hours a day. How many of you guys study and do homework? Okay. What do you study? What's your favorite subject?
Math.
Math? Okay, why do you like math? You're good at it? Okay. So she knew about the 24 hours. You're good at math. By the way, okay. So you're good at math. How many hours do you study during the day on math? What's that? Not a lot. Here's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. Sometimes when we're good at things, we don't study that much at it. You know why? I got that. Okay? Here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Okay? If you're really, really good at math, because you think you are, why? No, that's not why, because you have what? There we go. Yeah, faith, okay. And you probably are in your head, which is good, okay? You have to make sure that you understand that you need to study a little bit more and push yourself, okay? So if you're really good at math, you know what God gave you? He gave you a skill set, okay? You might be able to figure out something that I will never, ever be able to quantify in my brain. And that's okay. That's your gift. Now make sure you share it. That make sense? Because if you work hard at it, you can then do what? To my faith. You can help me out. Oh my gosh, I remember this young lady. She was a year ahead. Okay? She studied. Okay? What is your favorite subject? Anything. Language arts? Why do you like language arts?
Because it's just like entertaining.
It's entertainment. How many hours a day do you work on language arts?
Just like half hour.
Just like half hour, or like half hour, or maybe half hour, or sometimes half hour. Honestly. What's that? Half hour. So she actually does work 1/2 hour every day for language arts, and that's a good thing. Okay? Because you know what you're going to be able to do? You're going to be able to help me or them. Why? That's right, because you're working. Because faith without works is what? It's dead. Faith without works is dead. Okay? Who else here has favorite things they like to do? Okay. What do you like?
Golf.
Golf? So you can teach me something, because I can't golf, though. I can't golf. I really can't. Okay. What do you like about golf?
I like to play it,
Okay. How many hours a day do you work on golf?
a long time.
A long time. See, you didn't
I
count.
feel like it depends on how many, like what type of day.
Okay.
Snow.
Snow day, non-snow day. Okay, so it all depends. Okay, because how many hours do we have in a day, guys? How many hours? 24. Some people really touch only have to 11 days. That's okay. All right. So, what I want you guys to make sure that you're getting out of this is this, okay? We only have a certain amount of time. Make sure that you guys are increasing your faith every day by spending the amount of time that you need to on what? Your gift. Because your gift will help my faith. And that together does what to us? Make sense? Okay? All right. Any more questions? I'm ready to answer. Yes?
How did you get involved with law enforcement?
How did I get involved in law enforcement? Okay, long story, okay? When I was a kid, I didn't like cops growing up. Okay? I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. I did not like cops. Here's why. I grew up, like I said, in a neighborhood where there's a lot of gangs, a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, and cops were always showing up on bad days. Always. You know why? Because generally when we show up. Okay, what I'm trying to do is actually change it. So what I did is I kept the faith and I kept training for the Olympics. You guys ready for this? Now I've been a cop for 10 plus years now, okay, in law enforcement. And what I want you guys to get is I kept training for the Olympics, and I happened to show up to a track practice. Now what does track have to do with being a cop? What? Yeah, chase after someone. What if they come after you? You gotta run too, right? Yeah. All right, so we gotta be fit. What else? You gonna say that? Okay, go ahead and say it. There you go. Well said. Okay. All right. What did you have? You had something else. It was him. It was the other guy. So he's the one I gotta go after. This one here. You have to run. Okay. So actually, you don't have to run. I mean, you guys have seen some cops that probably can't run. Okay. So the reason why I'm asking you guys this is that what does track and field, the Olympics, have to do with being a cop? You have to work for it. Bam. Okay, you have to work for it. You guys see the connection right there? You know how I became a cop? I started running for track and field. Literally. I went to a practice, and like I said, I was a good baseball player, good enough to get a scholarship, good enough to get looked at by scouts, and I really did believe I was going to be a professional baseball player. I worked hours upon hours, 4 to 5 hours a day sometimes. And these now I had 19 hours sometimes to actually rest, eat, sleep, do my homework, that kind of stuff, and spend time with friends and family, okay? So I was working, I was training, okay, 20 plus hours a week, helps to develop my skill, okay? Well, when my shoulder got dislocated, I said, you know what, I got to start training. And so I found what? I found track and field, the Olympics, okay? Well, I called up a few coaches. Why did I call coaches, guys? Because they could do what? Help me? Why? Because they could increase my faith with their knowledge? I had to put it to work, right? So I showed up to this track practice, and this guy walks up to me and goes, hey, Mateo, what you do for us, son? And I said, well, right now I work 3 or 4 jobs. I'm working about 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes 70. I said, what do you got? He said, well, I got a job for you. I said, a job for me? I met this guy like 3 minutes ago, like literally. And he says, yeah, you know, I have this job, and what I'll do is, you put your name on the list, and we'll see if we can get you in. How do you feel about 4 days on, 2 days off? Now, what that meant to me was working 7 days sometimes a week, going down to 4 days on, 3 days off. What was I trying to work for, guys? The Olympics, training, okay? What happened? I said, sure, sign me up, sir. And that is how track, the Olympics, and law enforcement, being a peace officer, came into connection for me. Does this make sense, guys?
So what was the job?
It was a civilian job, which later got me to be a peace officer. You see the connection? My faith in believing that I was going to be able to do something that I'm good at, being a baseball player, okay? I knew I was going to be. I was going to be great. Okay, put me in the correct line of work that I'm currently in right now. Now, I'm not the best officer, I'll tell you guys that. I will tell you, though, that there are officers, okay, that don't understand the impact they could have. So my goal was this. I didn't like cops coming up. If I get in, I'm going to be better than I saw, and I'm going to do my best. Why? Because my belief in myself, my faith, and my work ethic sure you get is sometimes God will play a curveball, per se, play baseball terms. You got to sit back and say, okay, Lord, I'll play the game. And you hit it. Okay? Because of the fact I got injured, I got to track and field. Because I got track and field, I got what? The job to be a peace officer. Because of that, I've been able to travel the world, go and compete against some of the best in the world. And at 35 years of age, how many of you guys are 35 here? Okay, 35.
Oh, we're not a day older.
Okay, not a day older, okay? I'm still able to pursue what? My goals. Don't lose your faith. Keep working towards your faith. Keep sharing your faith story. Any other questions? What do you got?
What was your favorite event that you ran?
Favorite event, I'm actually really, really good at 0 to 60. So 60 meters is my favorite event. Because after that, my little short legs, they have a hard time in my frame. Okay? So a lot of the athletes that I'll run up against, they're taller and they weigh a lot less. So my strength is my power. So the short sprints, 60 meters. If it was a 10-meter sprint, we might kill it. I'd kill it. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else? Okay. All right. Did this help you guys a little bit?